She's beaten Grand Slam champions. Not once, not twice, but three of them in a single week. A 19-year-old wild card, ranked outside the top 100 at the time, walked into Miami and took down players the rest of the tour spends years trying to figure out. She beat a reigning Australian Open champion, then another major winner, and then Iga Swiatek, a 5-time Grand Slam champion, in straight sets. That kind of run does not happen by accident. And yet here's the part that doesn't make sense. She still hasn't made a deep run at a Grand Slam. No finals, no semifinals, not even a consistent second-week presence. So how do those two things exist at the same time? How can someone be good enough to beat the best players in the world on a big stage, but not yet good enough to survive 7 matches in a slam? Because that is the real test. Anyone can have a breakthrough week. Tennis history is full of them. But Grand Slams are different. They are slower, longer, more physical, more mental, less forgiving. You do not just beat one elite player. You have to do it again, and again, and again. So the question isn't whether Eala is talented. That part is already proven. The question is something much harder to answer. Is she actually built to win a Grand Slam? Or are we looking at a player who shines in moments but fades over distance? Because if you look at the highlights, the answer feels obvious. But if you look at the full picture, it gets uncomfortable. And that's where this story really starts. Because once you zoom out from the highlights and actually look at the numbers, the patterns, and the gaps, it's about something much deeper and much harder to fix. So before we talk about the future, we need to understand exactly where she stands right now. Let's put things into perspective. Because right now, the conversation around Eala is moving fast. Maybe too fast. She's 19. She's already beaten multiple Grand Slam champions in a single tournament. She reached the semifinals of a WTA 1000 event as a wild card, something that almost never happens. And after that Miami run, she didn't just gain attention. She made history. First Filipina to reach a WTA 1000 semifinal. First Filipina to enter the top 100. That's not hype. That's real. But here's where things start to shift. Because in tennis, milestones are not the same as mastery. Breaking into the top 100 is one world, breaking into the top 30 is another, but the top 10, that's a completely different ecosystem. You're not just playing well anymore. You're playing players who do not have off days, players who have been through battles, players who know how to win when they are not playing their best. And more importantly, players who can do it over 2 weeks. That's the part most people overlook. Because when you watch Eala beat someone like Iga Swiatek, it feels like she's already there. Controlled, composed, no fear. But a Grand Slam is not one match. It's 7 matches against different styles, different pressures, different expectations. And right now, her slam record tells a very different story. She made her Grand Slam main draw debut and lost in the first round. For years before that, she struggled just to get through qualifying rounds consistently. Even in the same year she shocked the world in Miami, her slam results didn't match that level. So now you have a gap. On one side, you have a player who can beat elite champions on a big stage. On the other, you have results that say she's not yet surviving the biggest tournaments in the sport. And that gap is everything. Because this is where careers either break through or stall. There are dozens of players who had one incredible run, one breakout moment, one week where everything clicked. Very few turn that into sustained dominance. So the stakes here are not just about whether Eala is good. We already know she is. The real stakes are this. Is she building towards something sustainable? Or are we watching a peak that came early? Because if you understand that difference, you don't just understand her present, you start to see her future. And if you've made it this far, you're probably already asking the same question. What is actually missing? And more importantly, is it fixable? If you stay with that question, what comes next is where things stop being obvious and start getting complicated. Start with the results. Because at Grand Slams, there's nowhere to hide. You can have one great match on tour and people will remember it. You can beat a top player and suddenly you're a headline. But at a slam, you have to do it again, and again, and again. And right now, that's where the story starts to break. Take the actual numbers. Across her Grand Slam career so far, Eala has won just one main draw match. Her best result is reaching the second round. Every other appearance, first round exits, French Open, first round, Wimbledon, first round, Australian Open, first round. And not just losses. Look closer at how those matches played out. She wins the first set, then loses the next two. Again, a pattern. So here's the first real layer of the problem. It's not that she can't compete, it's that she can't sustain. And that difference matters more than anything, because the elite level in tennis is not defined by your peak. It's defined by how long you can hold that level without breaking. Now take a step back. Look at her season as a whole. Solid win total. But at Grand Slams, completely different story. Same player, same year, different outcomes. So the question becomes obvious. Why does her level drop exactly when the stakes are highest? Is it physical? Is it tactical? Or is it mental? Now add another layer. Serve. Second serve points. Late match durability. These are not flashy weaknesses. But at the elite level, those are the details that decide everything. Because when rallies stretch longer, when matches get tighter, when pressure builds, they become targets. So now the picture is clear. She has the peak level, but not yet the structure to survive a slam. And those are two completely different skills. One gets attention, the other wins titles. And the more you look at it, what if this is not a quick fix? What if this takes time? What if the reason she hasn't broken through yet? Because everything we've looked at leads to one conclusion. She's not ready. But what if she's not behind? What if she's early? Some players peak fast. Others build slowly, layer by layer, year by year. And those players always look the same at first. Inconsistent, frustrating, full of flashes. Sound familiar? Because what you're seeing right now is not failure. It's a development pattern. She's not missing talent. She's building reliability. And those are not the same thing, because talent shows up in flashes. Reliability shows up when everything is on the line. Now think about what a Grand Slam really demands. 7 matches, 2 weeks, constant adjustments. You don't win by being perfect. You win by surviving imperfection. And right now, she's still learning that part. That's why she starts strong and fades. That's why the pattern repeats. Not because she can't reach the level, but because she can't hold it yet. And here's where it gets interesting. Maybe this is not the problem. Maybe this is the foundation. Now look at the evidence. She beats top players. She handles long rallies. She stays composed. She shows resilience. What she doesn't have yet. Consistency. And that is the last piece. Not ability, not potential, consistency, which takes the longest to build. So here's the answer. Yes, a Grand Slam is possible, not because of what she's showing right now, but because of what she's building. She's not finished. She's not supposed to be, but she's already closer than most. And the real question is no longer if, it's when. And when it happens, how big will it be?